So, it's been 5 years since the last Halo game, but actually that Halo game was kind of garbage, so let's knock that up to 8 years, which is when Halo 4 came out, and despite the weird game that it was, had probably the best progression systems and the best weapon balance and weapon variety we've seen in the franchise so far. In my books, the game was on par with Halo Reach. Regardless, it's late 2020. And we know that the new Halo Infinite is around the corner and, oh, what's that? The trailer didn't make the Reddit happy, so naturally in this situation, Microsoft fires the lead director and delays the game by an entire year in order to deliver the best Halo ever. Or is it? How's it going, eh? So today in this video, I want to touch on Halo Infinite. Now, this is a game that has been super anticipated, was delayed by a year, is made by a company that has pretty much infinite money, infinite resources. They've got the nostalgia of like millions of people, if not like a billion people, sort of wrapped around their belt. So the kind of game they should be making should be insane, but it's not. Now, if you think, oh, well, you know, it's in beta. Okay, but it's in beta with all the planned release content, and the game is incredibly empty. I'll preface this by saying, from a competitive standpoint, if you just want to play like ranked, and if you want to look at the competitive scene, and you want to focus on that, the game is super good. It's really good from that perspective, 100%. For your normal player base that's just trying to play and have fun, jump in some vehicles, you know, shoot each other, etc., I don't think it's that good. Furthermore, if you are a competitive player who wants to play things other than like ranked, such as big team, you want to play big team, you want to run around, you want to mess around with the vehicles, it's also not a fun game. And that is because of a few reasons. There is one, though, that is incredibly important, and I will get around to this right now, and this will matter to, I guess, not to pro players, because they'll just spend money on the game regardless, and they'll just buy it, or they don't care anyways, but for your casual player who wants to actually get progression in the game and get new gear, unlock stuff, get cool badges, color palettes, armor sets, etc., the game is terrible. Absolutely terrible. If you think about a game like Halo 4 had commendations, you could level your character, and there was even like a little prestige mastery system. Now imagine adding a battle pass to that, and you would have, you know, 3 to 4 good forms of progression in your game. Halo Infinite doesn't have these. Halo Infinite has a battle pass, no commendations yet. That could come in the campaign for all we know. There is absolutely no character leveling, and the game comes with no armor. Now, I know there's a free section to the Battle Pass, which you can unlock these free armors, and that's kind of your progression, but there is currently nothing satisfying about leveling your Battle Pass. It feels so out of your control, despite the fact that it's directly in your control through challenges. Part of this reason is once you complete your weekly challenges, and you do your daily or whatever, you have nothing to do except play games for 50 XP, 20 games for 1 level. The game doesn't consider, are you playing ranked? Are you playing a quick 4v4? Are you playing a long 12 on 12? Are you playing 2-minute matches against bots? I have a friend who essentially is just playing only bot arena because he just wants to max out the battle pass and progress because he doesn't even like the game. It's a bit weird, I know, but why would a system like this exist? You can't do this in any other game. I'm fine with you being able to progress through bot arenas. I don't have a problem with that. If people don't want to fight other players and participate in PvP, they deserve to level up and progress within the core systems of the game the same way as everybody else. Of course, I agree. That's fine. You shouldn't have to be like a person who loves PvP or wants to fight other players in order to just, you know, get some content, get some gear, and make yourself happy. Especially if you are paying for it. The problem arises currently, in my opinion, where I've been noticing this trend, and Apex tried to partake in this trend. Thankfully, they got shot down and faced a lot of backlash, and they no longer are doing it, where you try to get players to level their battle pass through challenges. Now, Halo is doing this. I know they think they're going to do it this way or that way, and people will defend this, but it is not a good idea. The last thing you want is somebody else telling you what your time is worth when you're playing a game for fun. For example, if I just want to play ranked all day and work on ranked, which can be a grind, there are people who are just playing a random amalgamation of game modes and getting far more battle pass experience than me within like an hour time frame, and it would take me like 10 hours of playing ranked to get the same amount of experience as them. That's probably a massive over exaggeration. It's probably more like 4 or 5 hours. But the point is why is like doing these weird challenges that don't directly reward armor, they just give you experience to your progression? Why do those equate to a more valuable game time to the devs? Why do they reward that more? Why aren't they rewarding the player who's actually playing their game for a longer period of time? Isn't that weird? Well, you know why they do that. It's because they want you to come back the next day to do the daily, the next week to do the weekly. So you're up to date with your progress on the battle pass. You're actively working on it. So you're up to date with any new events that they have where you could potentially spend money. So you're up to date with the new battle passes that come out so you can spend money. So you can get frustrated with how long the system is taking and you can spend money. So you can check out the store that gets updated every couple days or every 24 hours and spend money. You see where I'm going here? That it's a heavily monetized game. And you can say, well, you can play it for free. Listen, you don't need to go out of your way to defend developers doing weird stuff. Like, that's not your responsibility. You don't have to help them suppress other gamers by going out of your way to excuse heavy monetization that Halo did just fine without from Halo 4 and downwards. It's cool that it's free to play. It's also not cool that it's free to play. As we've seen with Apex, Warzone, CSGO, Valorant, you get cheaters because you don't have to pay for the game. There's no two-factor authentication to sort of semi-verify an identity to kind of prevent a banned person from making another account without also like needing a new phone number or something. There's nothing of the sort. I don't know how good Halo's anti-cheat is. To be honest, I feel like a cheater would probably just feel pretty similar to a controller player. Just kidding. Partially. But you know, there's pros and cons. So for me, I think of Halo 4 as objectively, Halo 4 and Reach, as objectively the best games for progression. I think Halo Reach did armor better. I think Halo 4 did the progression, how you earn the armor, better. I think Halo 4 did its multiplayer better, aside from the loadout stuff, which I personally liked a lot. Aside from that, the weapon balance, the map design, the abilities, etc. were all really good in Halo 4. They were also good in Halo Reach, minus the jetpack. So when we go from having games like that to going games like we have now, like Halo Infinite, which is a massive step backwards in progression, and it's almost a massive step backwards in putting like the player in control of how they get to play the game, because they can play the game however they want, they're just not going to get rewarded for it fairly. But Halo 4 and Halo Reach didn't really do that because you got your credits and experience based off your playtime. So we circle back to, why is the player doing the bot arenas in 2 minutes getting the same reward as someone who sat in a big team battle for 20 minutes? How does that make sense? Everyone should be able to play whatever game mode they want, and they should be able to progress through this battle pass the way it's implemented, whatever way they want, through playtime. The most fair option would be every hour of game time gives you something out of the battle pass. Maybe every hour of playing Halo gives you 200 experience. How about that? Instead of per win or per match completion basis, right? That would encourage you to be playing the game as much as possible within that hour. That would encourage you to spend a lot of time in game, not in the menus, you know? So then you wouldn't really necessarily want to do the bot battles if you have to be in and out of the game super fast. And it would just make like a lot less of an abusive system on both ends where players are trying to exploit it because the devs are trying to exploit us. And it's just like, why do we just exploit each other at all? Why can't we just make a fair system? I don't know. Anyways, if you're like a diehard fan of the incredibly simple Halo 1, 2, 3, I mean, you're gonna like this game because it's simple. Especially the progression. It's pretty much the modernization of those 3 games, right? So personally, I like complicated games that have a lot of depth to them. I know that's not a popular opinion amongst Halo 1 and 2 fans. They don't want games with depth. The depth of Halo 2 was enough. You know what I mean? They don't want more things to think about. They don't want more things to learn. They only want to optimize things, right? So that's whatever. So I mean, I'm not gonna pat 343 on the back for this. Like, it's kind of a 1-to-1 creation of Halo 3 and then kind of Halo Reach in terms of armor customization, right? So, like, I mean, they took the good parts from everything except, I don't know why they'd bring the worst progression system in the game back. Bring the best parts of all the games back. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's not that complicated, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of feels like a game that's really polished and it's 20 years old already. That's kind of what Halo feels like a bit. The grapple and stuff is kind of cool, but this kind of feels like another version of Halo 4 that would have been much more true to Halo 3. So we think about like the progression of the game's mechanics, the content, etc., and where it goes next. It actually almost feels like Halo Infinite would be before Halo 4 in a lot of respects. Isn't that weird? That's strange. Yeah, I think the game is just pretty limiting in its design. It's empty. There's pretty much nothing to do outside of just play ranked, and even if you play ranked, you're just doing that for your own purpose or to go pro and try to make money because as far as I know, you don't get any rewards for getting like Onyx. So like you get Onyx and then it's like, okay, what do I do now? Like you finish the season. I don't think you get a badge, you don't get armor, you don't get an armor color, or at least they haven't said you have, or I haven't heard it. Again, if that's true, that's something that definitely should be when you click on ranked. It should say, welcome to ranked. You compete for this rank, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the season, you'll get rewards depending on your ranked. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like that's just something that should be there. Yeah, it is what it is. So thanks for listening to my rant. If you like Halo, that's fine. Anyways, thanks for watching and see you around.